mayor says she is being locked out of her village's finance dealings.
Has more on why the mayor says this is a battle for transparency.
The mayor does not have a key to the building.
No.
That's a little nuts.
You guys already know that corruption is everywhere. Imagine being a mayor and several months after being elected mayor, and you are literally locked out of the village hall. And on top of that, you have no idea of any of the village finances because you have been pushed out. That's actually a real situation that's happening in Ohio. And we're going to be talking about that in this video today. Let's get into it. So if you've been on this channel for a little while, you know I probably have 1,500,000 videos of Tiffany Hayden and her nonsense. It just keeps going.
Communication. COMMUNICATINOS. So stop with the grandstand. For the 18th time, you guys got to learn to get out your feelings because you guys want to be petty.
But in this situation, we want to talk about a very small village in College Corner, Ohio. We see the same kind of lack of transparency and corruption. And we're going to be talking about that with this mayor called Molly Kasem. This is a quaint village in College Corner, Ohio, where the population barely nudges 400 people. The battle of transparency has captivated its citizens, underscoring the profound importance of accountability and transparency in small towns. So the newly elected Mayor Molly Kasem, who, despite her intentions to bring a new era of openness and transparency to her administration, finds herself embroiled in a struggle between the entrenched powers.
I never in a million years would I dream that I would ever be in this kind of position.
Molly Kasem describes herself as a regular person, but here in the small village of College Corner, she's the mayor. After unseating the long-standing mayor last fall, Kasem tells me she was eager to provide more transparency to residents, a campaign promise she claims she has been prevented from fulfilling.
She found herself literally locked out of the village office and excluded from the village financial dealings by a corrupt father and daughter team. We'll talk about this team later in this video. College Corner is a tiny town that straddles the Ohio-Indiana border. It's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, it's only 400 of them, and local politics directly touch the lives of the people who live there. So last fall, the townspeople elected Molly Kasem as their mayor. Kasem, describing herself as a regular person, aimed to stop what she saw as a lack of transparency that persisted under the long-standing previous mayor.
And in the 4 months she's been in office, the mayor can't unlock the door to the village office.
So when you say locked out, do you mean literally locked out?
Literally locked out.
Now, is it normal for the mayor not to have access to this place?
I wouldn't think so.
The mayor does not have a key to the building.
No.
Well, that's a little nuts.
She's trying to come in, trying to change up things, trying to make sure that everyone is being honest and not spending the money, not being corrupt. But the problem is that transition has been anything but smooth. From the very outset, Kasem's effort to fulfill her campaign promise of enhanced transparency was systematically blocked. This obstruction came to a head during a secretive emergency meeting. This is a true secret squirrel meeting on December 29th, just days before her inauguration. The village council shifted all significant administrative powers to its fiscal officer, a woman by the name of Jennifer Woods, and the village administrator, Michael Sims.
The village only has one full-time employee, the fiscal officer, Jennifer Woods. And this is the village administrator, Mike Sims. He's a volunteer. That power was cemented just a couple of days before the new mayor and council members were sworn in. A special meeting was called, which made Woods and Sims the only two with the power to, effectively, do anything in the village.
They made sure nobody had access to the village attorney except father, daughter, fiscal officer, and administrator.
And this is very important to understand that these two are linked, not just professionally, but they're related. It's the father and daughter. This village administrator is like the other village administrator we talk about a lot on this channel, seem to be very corrupt. Basically, what's the point of being a mayor when you moved every single administrative power away from the mayor and doing it right before her inauguration? So they realized that this person was going to probably figure out what is going on, and they wanted to hide it. And it just blatantly took all the powers away, took all the information away, and locked her out of the village hall, literally under lock and key. Absolutely insane.
Why? What are you hiding? What don't you want the council members that should have access to that attorney to know.
I mean, we have called and called and called and called.
The mayor claims she asked for financial records and wasn't given them until Butler County Prosecutor Mike Moser made a call for her.
So it took a prosecutor getting involved.
In order to get the records, yes.
That's insane. All of these things are public records. So certainly the council members should be entitled to see all of these things. The mayor, the council members ought to have access to the records, ought to have access to the office.
Since taking office, Mayor Kasem has encountered numerous hurdles. Despite her official capacity as the town's elected leader, she finds herself literally locked out of the village office and excluded from the village financial dealings. These restrictions are really concerning. Not only does the fiscal officer work less than a third of the year for a salary comparable to state officials,
There are big questions about how it's being run. Questions as to why the fiscal officer, Jennifer Woods, is paid close to $73,000 a year and isn't required to work more than 100 days, none in office.
The contract lists her pay at more than $72,000 a year, gives her 30 days of vacation and 120 sick days, 15 more next year. And she's not required to hold any office hours.
In 38 years of practicing employment law, I never saw a contract with 120 sick days per year, paid sick days.
This is a very generous,
It's a very generous contract.
if she wanted to, she would not have to work any more than 9,800 days.
I believe that's the correct calculation.
but she, along with the administrator, holds executive access to financial documents and dealings. This arrangement raises glaring concerns about nepotism and transparency. Sounds like they're trying to hide stuff. They're trying to figure out how to continue to do the things they want to do without anyone batting an eye. So this legal and ethical issues have implications for this small town government. At the heart of the matter are concerns about nepotism, the practice of favoring family members for jobs or privileges, and the concentration of power among a select few individuals. Such practices can lead to conflicts of interest and may erode trust within the community, as decisions might not be made in the best interest of the public. Mind you, these positions are there to serve the public, not to get access and money and a bunch of other nonsense. Again, we see this all the time. We see this in Dalton. These people that Haynard elected care more about themselves than the people they're serving. Particularly with the secret squirrel meeting that shifted control to the fiscal officer and the village administrator, which are the father and daughter, raised questions about fairness and transparency. Ethically,
What is the need for just the two of them to have all the power?
And as a village administrator, sir, can you tell me why the mayor doesn't have access to this building?
The fiscal officer.
You have a wonderful, when I say wonderful, wonderful employment agreement. Could we talk about that, please?
May I speak with and any council members about these issues.
Are you comfortable with the fact that this village office is in Quicken?
I tried multiple times to talk to every council member, Mike Sims and Jennifer Woods, to no avail.
it is troubling when power is kept within a family in a public office because it can obstruct impartial decision-making and reduce accountability. The transfer of power that occurred right before Mayor Kasem took office might violate certain principles of public administration and civil service that is designed to protect the public's interests. The subsequent lawsuit by council member Daniel Bolster to access public financial records reflect the struggle to enforce transparency when those in control resist openness. Lawsuits like this are fundamentally important because it's about ensuring elected officials can properly oversee the resources and decisions affecting their community, whether it's a town of 400 or 20,000 or 100,000. These things are necessary to keep everyone accountable. And let's talk about the fiscal officer, including her salary and benefits. Don't seem to be justified given the small size and the budget of College Corner. Like I said before, it's only 400 people. Why is this person making over $70,000 a year? These terms raise legal questions about the appropriateness and the legality of such a generous contract in the public role, especially one funded by taxpayer money. She has more sick days than anyone I know. It's kind of crazy. So this situation obviously attracted some media attention. One of the videos I saw did pretty well on YouTube, so I know this is a big deal. So public meetings began to draw some large crowds of concerned citizens and state officials took notice, and the pressure came with a significant but partial victory. Mayor Kasem was finally granted access to the village hall, although initially she did not receive the keys to the office containing the financial records.
in front of a packed house for the meeting, much different than last month's meeting where it was empty. The village administrator finally handed over the keys to the building. A big win for the mayor, Molly Kaysen.
I think we've made a lot of steps forward today. It seems like this journey's been 2 steps forward and 3 steps back this whole time, but I think today we finally took 2 giant steps forward and we're not moving back at this point.
That key is just to the building, not the office where the records are kept.
This is a good step, but clearly you know that this father and daughter team probably did some things to try to hide what they were doing. This is one step in the mayor's ongoing struggle to ensure transparency. We can look at Dalton under the leadership of Mayor Hanyard and the village administrator Keith Freeman. There has been several instances where transparency and accessibility to municipal operations were questioned. Reports indicate that there were instances where public access to meetings were restricted, contrary to the typical open meeting standards. During a Thornton Township board meeting, the public was directed to a basement with an inadequate audio feed, preventing them to fully participate or even understand what's going on.
What happened last night in Thornton Township has some residents there outraged.
When I arrived, there was security here. He was standing at the bottom of the stairs, preventing anybody from going up to the boardroom. I asked him if the meeting was downstairs. He replied yes.
Stephanie Wiedemann was among a handful of Thornton Township residents who came to last night's board meeting to speak their mind. But they never got that chance. They say they were blocked from going to the boardroom and sent to the basement instead, where they were told the meeting would be held. It wasn't. Before they knew what had happened, the meeting upstairs in the boardroom was over in a matter of 4 minutes, and Hanyard was gone.
Despite legal requirements for meetings to be accessible and open to the public, just like what's happening in College Corner, Ohio, both scenarios illustrate the problems that arise where local government operations are not conducted in transparency and not being open. It impacts the public trust and the effectiveness of the government. But what do you guys think about this story? Let me know, put in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.